Hello everyone, welcome to the daily current affairs. So in this video we'll be covering 13th and 14th January. These are the sources from PIB, Down to Earth, PBNS, All India Radio. So we'll be covering all these things in detail. So first of all, the first topic is about Global South. So what is Global South? So what is the origin from where this term was used? Now we'll learn a very important thing which is related to Global South, that is Brandt line. Now, if we're studying about Global South, then we'll cover the IR part, that is G77 here itself. Second is about inland waterways project, around 1000 crore worth, recently unveiled by PM Modi. So we'll cover inland waterways, what are the waterways, and the Act of 2016. Next is Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri says Global South faces acute impact of energy price volatility. It proposes to create Global Biofuel Alliance under G20. Now this is in news, so we'll be covering here what are the biofuels, the generation of biofuels, what is the conversion process, uh, the in-depth part of biofuel, how it is produced. Now National Bioenergy Program, what are Jatropha. Now we'll cover it to a IR topic, that is Global Renewable Fuels Alliance. It is related to biofuel. Then one particular scheme which is in news, Pradhan Mantri Jeevan scheme, and some 2 to 3 more related miscellaneous news which were in news related to biofuels. Fine. Next is India's commitment to achieve lymphatic filariasis by 2027. So we'll cover this. Now what is AIDP scheme? Now International Energy Agency says ki green steel is a solution for clean energy. Now what is green steel? Now recently in 2022 it was in news, India's first green steel brand was recently launched. We'll cover that. Now the coal ministry offers relaxation in revision of performance bank guarantee. So now this is our economy topic, so we'll cover what is performance bank guarantee. Recently, the Archaeological Survey of India discovers two 1200 years old miniature stupas at Nalanda. So it becomes a history topic. So we'll be covering here what is Nalanda, from where it started, now who laid the foundation, all this detailing part. Now how was the Nalanda revived? So revival of Nalanda will cover. From there we'll be covering East Asia Summit, because East Asia Summit was the first one who proposed the revival of Nalanda. We'll covering Archaeological Survey of India. Now when we cover Archaeological Survey of India, we'll be also covering Asiatic Society of Bengal in depth. Now India takes the presidency of IRENA. What is IRENA? We'll be covering. Now this is a IR topic. Fine. So let's start. So first thing is there is a need for articulating voice of Global South in international institutions. It is said by Foreign Secretary Vinay Mohan Kwatra. Now it says ki we have to articulate all the voice of Global South. So now here we need to understand what is Global South and what is Global North. Now when you study about Global South, you have to connect it with the IR topic, that is G77. Now recently also the Honorable Prime Minister of India recently inaugurated a virtual movement where the name was, the event name was Voice of the Global South Summit. So you need to cover what is Global South. It is basically a IR topic. These are all part of static IR. So we need to cover this in static IR. It has nothing to do with current, because it's always in news. So these are all part of static IR. Fine. Now what is Global South? Now Global South is a critical concept. It has three primary definitions. First of all, the first definition is it has traditionally been used within intergovernmental development organizations, primarily those that originated in the non-alignment movement. Now non-alignment movement started in 1961. There was a Cold War after the Second World War between USSR and USA. Now there are two power blocks. Now those countries who decided they will not join any power block, so they decided to start the non-alignment movement. So it was basically those countries, mostly the underdeveloped countries at that point of time, to refer to economically disadvantaged nation states and as a post-Cold War alternative to the third world. So those group of countries who were neither a part of USSR nor a part of USA, they did not join any kind of power bloc. So those countries were called as global south. This is the one kind of definition. Now other dimension is the global south also captures a deterritorialized geography of capitalism's externalities and means to account for subjugated peoples within the borders of wealthier nations. Now basically those countries which are which were subjugated by the rich nations of that point of time, those are mostly into capitalist, so they were subjugated. Those countries, the group of those countries were called global south. Another definition, it refers to the resistant imaginary of transnational political subject that results from shared experience of subjugation under contemporary global capitalism. It means world's souths recognize one another and view their conditions as shared. It means mostly if you see the global south countries, they tell you we have a shared kind of subjugation. We are getting subjugated by the developed nations or the global capitalism concept. So we are getting subjugated by that, and they say ki we all are one, we should raise our voice. So basically the reason is the same. Mostly all those countries who are in a way underdeveloped with respect to or relative to the developed nations, we call it as global south. Now these are basically the global south countries. The north south divide, we call the north south divide. So red countries are all global south, blue countries are all global north. If you see carefully, these are all developed countries. Okay, these are all developed countries, and these mostly the African countries, these Bolivia, Argentina, Brazil, India, these are all not much developed. Now you will say that China is a developed country, but yes, China is a developed country, but still then it is in the way of developed, like it's in a transitional phase. Now India is also developing, China is also developing, but there was a time at during the Cold War time, both were developing. They were not developed. Today you can say they are on the transition from developing to developed. Fine. Now from where all these concepts, where all this north south divide, global south came, that also we need to know for prelims. So the development of terms, the first use of global south in a contemporary political sense was in 1969 by Carl Oglesby, writing in the Catholic journal Commonweal in a special issue on the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War. So in a way, this term was used for the first time by a person. Fine, in 1969. Now the use is, it is the first explicit use. Okay, it is the first explicit use of the term. Now, the idea of categorizing countries by their economic and developmental status began during the Cold War, during the classification of East and West. Now, if we take from an higher perspective or international perspective, it was first the 1955 Bandung Conference, which in a way started, or it was the origin, or you can say it was the genesis of the non-alignment movement, which started in 1961 in the Belgrade Conference. So here it was an Bandung Conference was an early meeting of the third world states like India, Cuba, Indonesia, all these countries, in which an alternative to alignment be either the Eastern or Western blocks was promoted. So they told you we will not be an ally to any kind of blocks, right, like USSR or USA will not join anyone. Now finally, following this, the first non-alignment movement was organized in 1961, that is the Belgrade Conference. Now here you need to know everything about non-alignment movement because it is a static IR topic. Now we'll cover one thing that is called Brandt line. Now what is this Brandt line? Actually this line is nothing but the visual depiction of north-south divide. If you see carefully, this is the depiction of north-south divide. Okay, like this north-south divide, proposed by the West German former Chancellor Willy Brandt in 1980s in the report titled North-South, a program for survival, which is later known as Brandt report. Now all these report, now simply they can ask you in prelims question, the report Brandt report is related to which of the following? Okay, it is nothing but related to this north-south divide or this global north and global south. So Global North and Global South, mainly we like loosely refer to the countries like USA, Canada, Europe, Russia, Australia, New Zealand as Global North, and Global South as Asia, Africa and South America, which like we saw it in the map, this map. Fine. Okay. Now coming to, we'll connect it, this topic will connect it to IR now. Now here when you connect it, the topic is G77. Now we cover G7, we cover G20. G20 is in news. So we'll also cover G77. It is the largest intergovernmental organization of developing countries in the United Nations, established in 1964 by 77 developing countries. Simply, you need to, this is the keyword, you need to remember this, it is done by only by developing countries. So in a way, Global South is nothing but developing countries. So it is a group of those countries which are a part of Global South to voice their concerns and their issues, or to kind of a collective interests. Okay, so its aim is to promote its members collective economic interest and create an enhanced joint negotiating capacity in the United Nations to promote South-South cooperation for development, to promote the South-South cooperation to develop their interests. The members of 77 have been, now it is 134. Initially it was 77, that's why the name was 77, but now it is 134. However, the original name is retained due to its historic significance, and India is one of the members of G77. Now currently also it is in news. 2021 Guinea held the chairmanship. Now it is the Islamic Republic of Pakistan which holds the chairmanship of the group of 77 in New York for the year 2022. So this is a recent news. Traditionally, G77 speaks of a single voice before the 193 member General Assembly, that is the United Nations, and also at all United Nations committee meetings at international conference. They go, they talk, they voice their problems of the developing countries through this intergovernmental organization. It is the largest, remember, of the developing countries in the United Nations. Now, one more prelims topic, they can ask you, what is the Charter of Algiers? They'll simply ask, the Charter of Algiers is associated to which of the following? They'll give four organization names like G7, G20, ASEAN or something. So it is nothing but G77. Why? Because the first meeting of G77 was concluded at Algiers in 1967. It's in Africa, where the historic Charter of Algiers was formally adopted. Now they also have a supreme decision making body. That decision making body name of G77 is nothing but the South Summit. Remember, this also may be asked in prelims. It is the South Summit. This summit name, it is the decision making body. They take all the decisions. Okay, fine. Coming to the next topic. Prime Minister unveils inland waterways projects worth 1,000 crore to increase transport, trade and tourism in Eastern India. No, so the topic here is inland waterways, which we will cover. And also recently news, PM Modi flagged off the world's longest river cruise MV Ganga Vilas at Varanasi. This is a very famous news nowadays, we all know. So here, but we'll cover about inland waterways. Now, these Inland Waterways Act, there is an act, Inland Waterways or National Waterways Act, that is 2016. The act proposed 106 additional national waterways and merges 5 existing acts which were declared the 5 national waterways. Initially, there was 5 national waterways, NW1 to 5. So here you can see this is NW1. Okay, starting from Bhagirathi. Then this is NW2, that is the northeastern side, that is Brahmaputra. This is 3, this is 4. Okay, so no need to go through all the NW because they will not ask. Just simply know 1, 2, 3, 4, that's enough. They'll not ask about this, but you need to know the Ganga, Bhagirathi, Hooghly, that area or that waterway is the longest waterway in India, stretched up to 1620 kilometer. Fine. And through this act, 106 new waterways were also identified. No need to go in detail. So, in 1986, the government of India also created the Inland Waterways Authority of India. That is nothing but IWAY. It is a statutory body because it was created through Inland Waterways Authority Act of 1985. It will regulate and it will develop the inland waterways for navigation and shipping. Fine. Now, one more information you can know from here. Under entry 24 of the Union list of the 7th schedule, the central government can make laws on shipping and navigation on inland waterways, which is classified as national waterways by parliament by law. So, any national waterway which needs to be classified by the government, it needs to be done by parliament by an act. Okay. So here this is 2016 act where 106 were added. Fine. Now some extra topics you can cover in your self-study. What is Project Earth Ganga, Sagarmala project, River Interlinking Program, and Inland Vessels Bill of 2020. This is important, recent bill. These two are always in news, so you can cover through internet. This is not of much importance. You can just check. You can just go through. Okay. Next. Now, this is a big topic and it is very important for prelims. I have covered in detail everything related to biofuel because it is in news and it's very important news about biofuel because in a way it is our future. So, Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri says Global South faces acute impact of energy price volatility. It says कि ग्लोबल साउथ जो होता है, जो बहुत सारे जो डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज है, वी डिस्कस्ड नाउ, दे आर फेसिंग वोलाटिलिटी इन प्राइसेस, एनर्जी प्राइसेस, बहुत प्राइसेस अप डाउन होता है. सो उन्होंने एक प्रपोज किया है टू क्रिएट अ ग्लोबल बायोफ्यूल एलियंस, एक ग्रुप बनाएंगे ग्लोबल बायोफ्यूल एलियंस अंडर G20. अभी G20 चल रहा है, इंडिया हेड कर रहा है, तो बहुत सारे न्यूज़ यू विल गेट फ्रॉम अबाउट G20. दिस इज सिंपली अ प्रपोजल. ओके, so it can be news again. So here we need to cover about everything about biofuels. Okay, fine. So he has proposed to create a global biofuel alliance under G20. He has invited all the global south countries, all these developing countries we discussed now, to join India's initiatives such as International Solar Alliance. International Solar Alliance is also very important, which I have covered in my previous current affairs. One Sun, One World, One Green, and India's first energy week in Bangalore. Fine. Now we'll cover one by one what is biofuels. Now, unlike other renewable energy sources, biomass can also be converted directly into liquid fuels. Those are called as biofuels. Biomass को हम convert कर रहे हैं to biofuel to help meet the transportation fuel needs. द मोस्ट कॉमन टाइप्स ऑफ बायोफ्यूल्स इन यूज टूडे, वैसे तो बहुत सारे हैं लेकिन जो कॉमन यूज हो रहा है वो है इथेनॉल एंड बायोडीजल, बोथ ऑफ देम विच रिप्रेजेंट द फर्स्ट जनरेशन. देर आर 4 generations ऑफ बायोफ्यूल्स. फर्स्ट जनरेशन 1G, 2G, 3G and 4G. We'll cover in detail now. Okay, first of all let us cover something about ethanol and biodiesel. Ethanol is a renewable fuel that can be made from various plant materials. Plant materials से ethanol बन सकता है. These plant materials are collectively known as biomass. That's what I've written here. Biomass can be converted directly into liquid fuels called as biofuels. Ethanol is an alcohol used as a blending agent with gasoline to increase octane and cut down carbon monoxide and other smog causing emissions. जो अभी हम पेट्रोल यूज़ करते हैं, डीजल यूज़ करते हैं, तो बहुत सारे एमिशन होता है विच आर नॉट गुड फॉर द एटमोसफियर. सो स्मॉग भी कॉज करता है वो. सो इट विल कट डाउन द कार्बन मोनोक्साइड बेसिकली. दैट इज़ द मेन थिंग. नाउ मोस्ट इथेनॉल इज मेड फ्रॉम प्लांट स्टार्चेस एंड सुगर्स. द मोस्ट कॉमन मेथड ऑफ कन्वर्टिंग बायोमास इनटू इथेनॉल इज कॉल्ड फर्मेंटेशन. फर्मेंटेशन में क्या होता है? द माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स दैट इज बैक्टीरिया एंड यीस्ट, द मेटाबोलाइज plant sugars and produce ethanol. That process is called fermentation. Similarly, biodiesel is a liquid fuel produced from renewable sources such as new and used vegetable oils and animal fats, and is a cleaner burning replacement of petroleum based diesel fuel, बायोडीजल. कहाँ से होता है? न्यू या फिर यूज्ड वेजिटेबल ऑयल्स और एनिमल फैट से बनता है. Biodiesel is non-toxic and biodegradable, and it's produced by combining alcohol with vegetable oil, animal fat or recycled cooking grease. इस सबसे biodiesel बनता है. So these are all biofuels. Now coming to the 4 generation, 4 generation है. First generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation. How to remember? First generation biofuel कहाँ से बनता है? They are made from food sources. Second generation कहाँ से बनता है? They are made from non-food source crops. Third कहाँ से बनता है? Algae से बनता है, that is from microorganisms. Fourth generation कहाँ से बनता है? Genetically engineered. Genetic engineering. Simple, you have to understand. So we are now into first generation 2G. We are trying for 2G refineries. This is our future because माइक्रोऑर्गेनिज्म से बनाना काफ़ी मुश्किल होता है. एंड जेनेटिकल इंजीनियर के लिए यू नीड लॉट ऑफ लाइक permissions and approval from the government. You need to GAEC. So you have to cover genetically modified crops in separate like I'll cover it in separate current affairs, but you can go through this. Fine. First generation is from food sources like sugar, starch, vegetable oil, animal fats using conventional technology. जैसे कि बायो अल्कोहल, बायोडीजल सब हमने पढ़ा भी, वेजिटेबल ऑयल, दीज आर ऑल मेड फ्रॉम फूड क्रॉप्स. So if we start making biofuel from food crops, so there can be a food insecurity. Okay, so it is not it's not being promoted much. So we are now into second generation because see, process is easy, but the use of food sources in the production of biofuels creates an imbalance in the food economy. जब फूड इकोनॉमी में इम्बैलेंस होगा तो फूड प्राइसेस बढ़ेंगे, फूड इन्फ्लेशन बढ़ जाएगा, घर बढ़ेगा. सो इट इज़ नॉट लाइक वी आर नाउ मूविंग इनटू 2G. दिस इज 2G फ्रॉम नॉन फूड क्रॉप्स, जो कि नॉन एडिबल एंड कंसिडर्ड एज वेस्ट. जैसे कि स्टेम्स हो गया, हस्क्स हो गया, वुड चिप्स हो गया, फ्रूट स्किन्स हो गया, पीलिंग हो गया, वहाँ से हम बनाएंगे. Examples include cellulose, ethanol, biodiesel. Thermochemical reactions or biochemical conversion process are used for producing such fuels. Though these fuels do not affect the food economy, but their production is quite complicated. So this is one of the disadvantages. Production is quite complicated. Also, it is reported that these biofuels emit less greenhouse gases when compared to first generation biofuels. So this is an advantage. Okay. Greenhouse gases, they emit less. It's not zero. Okay, it's less. Third generation from algae, example of butanol. Microorganisms like algae can be grown using land and water unsuitable for food production, thereby reducing the strain on already depleted water resources. But ये एक तो एडवांटेज हो गया, ठीक है. But disadvantage is that the fertilizers used in the production of such crops lead to environmental पॉल्यूशन. सो दिस इज़ ए डिसएडवांटेज बिकॉज जो भी फर्टिलाइज़र यूज़ होता है इसमें, तो जाहिर सी बात है इट विल लीड टू एनवायरमेंटल पॉल्यूशन. फोर्थ जनरेशन बहुत फ्यूचरिस्टिक है. दोज क्रॉप दैट आर जेनेटिकली इंजीनियर्ड. तो यहाँ पे बेसिकली दे यूज़ द सेकेंड जनरेशन टेक्निक, बट बेसिकली यहाँ पे GM टेक्निक यूज होता है, GM क्रॉप्स. ओके, सो GM क्रॉप्स इज योर टास्क. Study about genetically modified crops. So now coming to biofuel conversion process. Just remember the process names. They may ask you because they will not go in detail, but at least you should know what is the process names. First is deconstruction. Second process is upgrading. Just you need to know these two terms. Now, what is deconstruction? Producing advanced fuels or biofuels typically involves a multi-step process. First, the tough rigid structure of the plant cell, because plant से जब बनता है तो जो rigid structure of the plant cell है, which includes the biological molecules cellulose, hemicellulose and lignin bound tightly together, they must be broken down first. अब जो जो स्ट्रक्चर है प्लांट सेल का, उसको ब्रेक डाउन करने के लिए यू नीड सम प्रोसेस. सो ये दो प्रोसेस हो सकता है. वन इज हाई टेम्परेचर डिकंस्ट्रक्शन, सेकेंड इज लो टेम्परेचर डिकंस्ट्रक्शन, बोथ. अब हाई टेम्परेचर डिकंस्ट्रक्शन में क्या होता है? इट मेक्स यूज ऑफ एक्सट्रीम हीट एंड प्रेशर टू ब्रेक डाउन सॉलिड बायोमास इनटू लिक्विड और गैसियस इंटरमीडिएट्स. प्राइमरीली तीन चीज़ होता है, तीन रूट होता है फॉर हाई टेम्परेचर डिकंस्ट्रक्शन. उसको ब्रेक करने के लिए, बायोमास को ब्रेक करने के लिए इनटू लिक्विड और गैसियस. एक है पायरोलिसिस. यहाँ पे क्या होता है? द बायोमास इज हीटेड रैपिडली एट हाई टेम्परेचर्स अराउंड 500 to 700 डिग्री सेल्सियस इन ऑक्सीजन फ्री environment. The heat breaks down the biomass into pyrolysis vapor, gas and char. Once the char is removed, the vapors are cooled and condensed into a liquid biocrude oil. Simple. Just remember pyrolysis. High temperature में heat होता है in a oxygen free environment. These two terms you have to remember. और एक process है gasification. Gasification also follows a slightly similar process. क्या होता है यहाँ पे? However, बायोमास इज एक्सपोज टू ए हायर टेम्परेचर, यहाँ पे ग्रेटर देन 700. तो यहाँ पे जो टेम्परेचर है पायरोलिसिस से ज़्यादा है. यहाँ पे 500 to 700 इज मोर देन 700 विथ सम ऑक्सीजन प्रेजेंट. यहाँ पे ऑक्सीजन फ्री है, यहाँ पे सम ऑक्सीजन प्रेजेंट है टू प्रोड्यूस सिन गैस. नाउ सिन गैस वी हैव कवर्ड, और वो टॉपिक का नाम क्या था? कोल गैसिफिकेशन. इट वाज आल्सो इन न्यूज़ रिसेंटली. कोल गैसिफिकेशन का एक न्यूज़ में था. सो कोज गैसिफिकेशन सेंटर कहीं पे अभी रिसेंटली इनॉग्रेट हुआ था अराउंड जनवरी 5 या 6 का करंट अफेयर्स. एनीवन हु इज़ फॉलोइंग इट रेगुलरली यू कैन नो इट. सो कोल गैसिफिकेशन, तो यहाँ पे सिन गैस. ओके, सो देखो कैसे द थिंग इज ऑल एवरीथिंग इज कनेक्टेड. सो आवर एवरीडे करंट अफेयर टॉपिक्स विल बी कनेक्टेड टू वन और द अदर मोस्टली. ओके, सो सिन गैस भी यू हैव टू कवर. So it is a process of gasification. So syngas किस process से आता है? That is the high temperature deconstruction. So this is the way you have to connect. Okay. So syngas is a mixture that consists mostly of carbon monoxide and hydrogen. ठीक है. Now coming to the third part. Third part is hydrothermal liquefaction. This is also important part for prelims. These are all part of science and tech or general science. And, mostly they will ask questions from here. Hydrothermal liquefaction. Now when working with wet feedstocks like algae, अब algae is 3G, तो 3G जनरेशन में क्या यूज होता है? हाइड्रोथर्मल लिक्विफिकेशन यूज होता है. हाइड्रोथर्मल लिक्विफिकेशन इज अ प्रीफर्ड थर्मल प्रोसेस. जब हम एल्गी को, मतलब फॉर एग्जाम्पल इन फ्यूचर पे जब हम एल्गी यूज करेंगे टू प्रोड्यूस 3G बायोफ्यूल्स, तो दिस इज द प्रोसेस विच इज यूज्ड. दिस प्रोसेस यूजेस वाटर अंडर मॉडरेट टेम्परेचर. यहाँ पे टेम्परेचर कम है 200 to 350 डिग्री सेल्सियस. वैसे तो कम नहीं है, बट स्टिल देन कंपैरेटिवली फ्रॉम पायरोलिसिस एंड गैसिफिकेशन इट इज लेस, and elevated pressures to convert biomass into liquid biocrude oil. This is how you have to cover your prelim stuff. Okay. Next, तो एक हो गया लो टेम्परेचर हाई टेम्परेचर का डिकंस्ट्रक्शन. नेक्स्ट विल कवर लो टेम्परेचर डिकंस्ट्रक्शन. These are all these two methods are used to break that biomass. Low temperature deconstruction typically makes use of biological catalyst called enzymes or chemicals to break down. यहाँ पे enzymes और chemicals use होता है to break down the feedstocks into intermediates. First, biomass undergoes a pre-treatment step that opens up the physical structure of the plant and algae cell walls, making sugar polymers like cellulose and hemicellulose more accessible. क्योंकि यहीं से ही बनता है biofuels. Okay. These polymers are then broken down using enzymes or chemically into simple sugar building blocks during a process known as hydrolysis. Very simple. Okay. तो एक बार ये जब हो गया, that is deconstruction, will go to the next step, that is the last step, that is called upgrading. Following deconstruction, intermediates such as crude bio oil, syngas, sugars and other chemical building blocks must be upgraded. ये सब अभी output है. Now it has to be upgraded to produce the finished product, that is the biofuel. This involves either biological or chemical processing. Biological से भी हो सकता है, chemical processing is also preferred. Microorganisms such as bacteria, yeast, cyanobacteria can ferment sugar or gaseous intermediates into fuel blend stocks and chemicals. Alternatively, sugars and other intermediate streams such as bio oil and syngas may be processed into a catalyst to remove any unwanted or reactive compounds in order to improve the storage and handling properties. Simply upgrade matlab the thing is you are using a catalyst to remove some kind of unwanted or reactive compounds. The finished product from the upgrading may be fuels or bioproducts ready to sell into the commercial market, or stabilized intermediates suitable for finishing in a petroleum refinery or chemical manufacturing plant. तो जो फिनिश प्रोडक्ट होता है तो वो जाके यूज़ होता है द रिफाइनरी पे. ओके, सो जस्ट रिमेंबर अपग्रेडिंग एंड deconstruction, these terms: high temperature deconstruction, low temperature deconstruction. Fine. Now we'll cover some more recent news related to biofuels. Recently, in 2022 April, India Brazil Alliance for Bioenergy and Biofuels. Not a much great news, but yes, they had an alliance for bioenergy and biofuels. They will be establishing a virtual India Brazil Center for Excellence on Ethanol. They're taking steps to improve this second generation. They're focusing on 2G, fine, because 3G is algae. It is not yet like they're not yet ready for 3G. So now they're doing for 2G. One more news: Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, that is MNRE, it announced recently, 2022 news, late 2022, that the National Bioenergy Program will be implemented until 2025 to 2026. So this is in news. So what happened is the program aims to promote bioenergy usage and create an investor friendly ecosystem so that people will invest in bioenergy based on circular economy. Circular economy is nothing but that using the wastage, reuse. Okay, circular economy, because it is the 2G is based on the, we are using the the non-edible, the waste, we are using it to produce the biofuel. Now it will be implemented in 2 phases and will have three sub schemes, that is waste to energy program, biomass program, biogas program. Now waste to energy, you are using waste and you are converting into energy. Here the program on energy from urban, industrial and agricultural waste or residue, जो urban से और industrial से और agricultural waste जो होता है उसको हम use करेंगे. So this program aims to use waste produced by industrial, domestic and agricultural sectors to generate energy. To achieve this goal, the sub-scheme will set up large biogas, bio-CNG and power plants. Remember, here this waste to energy does not include municipal solid waste to power projects. Just remember this point. Okay, it does not include municipal solid waste to power projects. Fine. Now biomass program, here the scheme is to support manufacturing of briquettes or pellets and promotion of biomass. It is non-biogas based co-generation in industries. It will help to set up pellets and briquettes that are used for generating power and also non-biogas based power generation projects. Another program is biogas program, will support family members to set up small and medium sized biogas in rural regions. Just remember it, no need to go in detail because scheme questions will be asked in a very easy format. Fine, next. Some more recent news related to biofuels. Here I'll suggest to cover some topics. Cover Jatropha, sugar beet, sorghum, Pongamia and national policy on biofuels 2018. One question is already asked in previous year questions, so I don't think it will be repeated. Just you can go through the policy. Here also you will get that 1G, 2G, 3G. You can just read it. Now these are the sources I have provided from Wikipedia. You can cover. Here also you'll get all these things in this particular site. You can cover about Jatropha biodiesel, very important Jatropha biodiesel, because it is a prelim stuff. They can ask about Jatropha. You can cover from here and make notes. Already the sugar beet is asked. Now in DownToEarth there was a news I found. Jatropha, like the production of biodiesel from Jatropha, it is called Jungli Arandi in Hindi, Kattu Kotai in Tamil, and Pongamia Pinnata Okay, here Pongam. These are all biodiesel, right? The production of biodiesel from here. These are used. Now the Indian beach is called Karanj in Hindi. Karanj, remember? They can ask all these terms in prelims. Okay. You can also cover this particular site. You will get this thing. So at least cover Pongamia and Jatropha. Jatropha is very important for prelims. Okay. Now one scheme will cover, which is an important scheme for biofuels, that is Pradhan Mantri G1 Yojana. Okay. Here the scheme is for creating infrastructure of 2G ethanol biorefinery in the country. I told now we are promoting into 2G. We are yet not into 3G. Okay. So we'll do it through a MCQ, through two practice MCQs. The Pradhan Mantri G1 Yojana related to which of the following? 2G ethanol sector, forestry, health insurance, medical innovation. Okay. So this is the way they will ask. Because G1 maybe you may think it is insurance or something like that. Okay, it's nothing. It is या फिर one word है, one you may go for forestry. So the forestry is also wrong. This is also wrong. So the answer is 2G ethanol sector. So another question, which of the following is not benefits of Pradhan Mantri G1 Yojana? Not benefits. Impetus to ethanol blended petrol pump, yes, because it is related to 2G ethanol biorefinery. So it will 100% give a boost to the ethanol blending petrol program. You need to cover this ethanol blending petrol program, which I have covered in initial current affair classes. It was also a news in January, maybe January 2nd or 3rd. You can just see. Create rural and urban employment opportunities. Yes, it will create opportunities. Doubling farmers income by providing remuneration on agricultural residues. Yes, we will be using agricultural residues for 2G. Okay, so farmers income can be also doubled. Forex savings. Yes, it will save our import bills. Okay, so not means the answer is D. So here you can check the benefits. Everything is there. Forex savings is there. Okay, 10% blending of petrol and blended. This is the ethanol blending program. 10% max to max it will go for 20%, but now it is 10%. Or 5%. You can check. Recently I guess 5% is approved. You can check January 2nd or 3rd current affairs. So yeah, this is the scheme. Fine. Next. Now some more news related to biofuels. Now let's connect this biofuel term with IR. Okay. Now there is an alliance called Global Renewable Fuels Alliance, GFRA. Now how the questions will be asked? They may ask, this alliance is under United Nations, so it will be a wrong. India is a part of this alliance. Yes, it is right. So similarly, 2 to 3 things you need to know. And it is related to what this alliance does. It is nothing but a biofuel alliance. Simple. This much is enough for your prelims. So it is a federation. It is a combination of countries, Global Biofuel Federation, representing over 90% of the world's renewable fuels production from 45 different countries. So these are the countries. Simply you need to know India is a member or not. Yes, India is there. Okay. Now they are saying, GRFA is saying, ethanol can and will play an important role in fighting climate change. Yes, we are fighting climate change now, and ethanol will play a very big part because it is the only commercially available replacement of crude oil. The only commercially available replacement of crude oil, that is ethanol. So this is also a prelim stuff. Only commercially available replacement. The word is commercial. Okay, fine. So now let's move to some other topics. India is committed to eliminate lymphatic filariasis by 2027. Okay. Now what is this disease called? Now commonly it is called elephantiasis. It is a NTD, that is neglected tropical disease. You can cover this neglected tropical disease. Lot of diseases which we usually like, these are neglected by the government. So on like we do not pay much focus on this kind of diseases which are usually found in our tropical areas. Infection occurs when filarial parasites are transmitted to humans through mosquitoes. Simple. It is usually acquired in childhood, causing hidden damage to the lymphatic system. The painful and profoundly disfiguring visible manifestation of disease, lymphedema, elephantiasis, and scrotal swelling occur later in life and can lead to permanent disability. Okay. This much is enough, I guess. Nothing much. Just you need to remember this part for prelims. Okay, there are 3 types. You can go through it. Not much of importance. Okay. Next is AIDP scheme. It is also in news. It was in PIB. Now it is the scheme is assistance to disabled persons for purchase fitting of aids and applicants. Basically for the Divyangjan or the disabled persons. Okay. Now 65 Samajik Adhikarta Shivers for distribution of aids to the Divyangjan means the disabled persons under the scheme. Now when a disabled thing comes, most of the schemes are under Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Remember, most of 90-95% of the schemes related to disabled. Now it is in operation since 1980, so it's a old news, but still it is in news. For example, 2 years back MP lads question came, detailed some 4 lines on MP lad questions came. Now this is also a 90s scheme, but still it is in news. Similarly AIDP, it is in like it's in operation since 1981, but still it's in news. Okay. Implementing agency, just remember the implementing agency is Alimco. Okay, Alimco is Artificial Limbs Manufacturing Corporation of India. It is nothing but a PSU. Okay, so this is Alimco. It is a PSU, that is a company, government PSU under Companies Act, under the administrative control of Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities. It is 100% owned by government, that is central public sector enterprises. Its work is, the objective is to benefit the persons with disability to maximum extent possible by manufacturing rehabilitation aids for persons with disabilities and promoting, encouraging and developing the availability, use, supply, distribution of artificial limbs and other rehabilitation aids to the disabled persons of the country. Okay. Next news is from DownToEarth magazine on 13 January. Now IEA is International Energy Agency. Now this also mostly every 2 or 3 days it will be news. Now this is a IR topic. It is in 1974, after the global oil crisis. It was started, International Energy Agency. Now if India is a part, India is not a member, but India is a associate member. Remember, India is a associate member. Mainly energy agency means the objective is to promote energy efficiency, good use of energy, all these things, renewable energy. They promote this. It is a intergovernmental organization, but India is not a member. India is an associate member. Now one more point is, only OECD members can be part or can be members of IEA. India is not OECD members. OECD members consist of around 34 developed countries, not developing. Developed countries. In the comment box, write when was OECD established. In the comment box, you can write when it was established, OECD. Okay, now you have to cover all the reports of IEA, all the associations or any kind of schemes or something related to IEA, because IEA questions are asked. Okay, fine. Now IEA says, now one more thing I need to cover here, just I'll give you a brief. Now there is something called IEA in 1974, as I said. Now there is something called International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA. Now it was in 1957. Now India is a part of, or India is a member of IAEA. Now it promotes the peaceful use of atomic energy and nuclear energy. Fine, that is the work of IAEA. Now whether IAEA is a independent body or it comes under United Nations. First of all, it is an independent body, independent intergovernmental organization, you can say, intergovernmental organization, but it reports to United Nations General Assembly and United Nations Security Council. So these two statements, it may look opposite to each other because it is independent, not under UN, but yet it reports to both. This is also called Atoms for Peace Organization. Now I ask you a question. This is Atoms for Peace of the world. Now in the comment box write which organization is called Atoms for Peace Organization in India. This is the question. Write in comment box. Search and write. It is a very important organization, and sometimes it happens to be news also, but you need to know, they may ask. Okay, in India, Atoms for Peace, which organization is called? Fine. Okay, now let's move on to the topic. So the topic is green steel. Now the IEA is saying green steel is a solution for clean energy. Now what is green steel? Basically, green steel is the manufacturing of steel without the use of fossil fuels. Now when steel manufacturing is done, fossil fuel is used, right? But green steel is, you are not using fossil fuels. This new phenomenon is about producing steel by using low carbon energy sources such as hydrogen, coal gasification. You see, coal gasification, and again it is coming in news. So you need to cover, which I've already covered in January 4, 5 or 6 regarding that seen gas. Okay, or electricity instead of traditional carbon intensive manufacturing route of coal fired plants. So it is saying green steel is the solution. International Energy Agency is saying, because it is saying 75% of the steel is still largely made in coal fired blast furnaces. Coal is used, that is fossil fuels, which pumps large amounts of carbon dioxide into atmosphere. So when a climate change question comes, all these things you have to put in mind and write it in mains. You will get the required marks, because everybody will write very normal answers. So if you write these kinds of answers, so this is nothing but your current affairs will make you enrich your mains answer. You can go through the different current affairs, because the thing is I am covering all these current affairs for you guys just to have a enrichment in prelims and mains both. Okay, fine. So now see, this is in news. This is in news, that is ISS green steel or cement for clean energy. Now there is another connected news in 2022, in December 2022, very recent. Indian-based Kalyani Group has launched India's first green steel brand called Kalyani Feresta. They'll simply ask you, recently news Kalyani Feresta related to what? Okay, you may think कि Feresta है कुछ related to कोई car होगा या Ford का कुछ होगा, वैसा like they will try to fool you through wrong options. Nothing related to car or something. It is related to green steel. ठीक है? They launched the first green steel brand. Now this Kalyani Group, I guess it is in Pune, if I am not wrong. Okay, now green steel is when a steel is manufactured without using fossil fuels, it is called green steel. It is manufactured using low carbon energy sources like hydrogen, electricity, coal gasification instead of traditional carbon intensive manufacturing. Usually अभी हम carbon use करते हैं, तो उसके जगह हम यूज़ करेंगे हाइड्रोजन, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, कोल गैसिफिकेशन. ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर आवर फ्यूचर in order to fight climate change. Sweden was the first country to manufacture green steel. Now this becomes a very important question. Sweden. It was developed by hybrid technology. Remember, hybrid, not hybrid. It is hybrid technology. Now, why domestic production of green steel in India is significant? Because it is significant because we are fighting climate change and steel is manufactured using this fossil fuel, so it is very much important. And that too, the some fact you can use in your mains. The steel industry contributes 7% of the carbon emissions globally. It's not a small thing. And Indian steel industry accounts for 12% of these emissions. So the production of green steel minimizes the usage of popular coking coal, a major contributor of greenhouse gas emissions. तो जब हम स्टील के बारे में, when you read about steel, there is a national steel policy also. You can go through it. हमारा एक national steel policy. When you cover steel, the problems, the issues, in a way forward, you can write about green steel. You can write this. You can write this fact. IEA has also said 75% of steel is made in coal-fired blast furnace. So all these things you can write in your mains. Okay. So what is the current market trend for green steel? देखो problem ये है कि demand नहीं है अभी. So the government has to make some policies to add green steel in our policies, some rules or something the government has to bring, and to include the private investment also. So while Indian market currently does not have major demand, Europe is currently becoming an attractive market. So India Europe के साथ ये सब बात करके they can try to bring the technologies from Europe. जैसे कि Sweden was the first country, ठीक है, for the export of green steel. So India can have a like Europe के साथ India can have some trade talks or something to import green steel and can take the technologies. Okay. Industries like oil and gas, power and energy, and other engineering industries like aerospace are currently showing a keen interest in green steel adoption. The wind energy sector, electric vehicle sector are among the early adopters of this steel. वहाँ पे कहाँ पे? यूरोप में. Indian government is currently looking to boost the domestic demand for green steel by making it mandatory for manufacturers to use a certain percentage of green hydrogen. Now, what is green hydrogen? What is blue hydrogen? What is yellow hydrogen? All these things I have covered. You can go through the videos or the playlist. You can go through the January videos. Everything is already covered. Okay, fine. Next topic. Coal Ministry offers relaxation in revision of performance bank guarantee. Now, no need to go about auction or some. These are not asked in paper, but at least you know what is a bank guarantee. Maybe they may ask you from an eco point of view. Now, a bank guarantee refers to a promise provided by a bank or any other financial institution that if a certain borrower means जो पैसा borrow करता है और पैसा उधारी पे लेता है, fails to pay a loan, then the bank or the financial institution will take care of the losses. It is a bank guarantee. Okay. Now the bank will assure the creditor through this bank guarantee that if the borrower does not meet his or her liability, then the bank will take care of them. So एक होता है creditor, ठीक है, एक होता है borrower, एक होता है बैंक. ठीक है, आप पैसा लेते हो क्रेडिटर से कोई भी काम के लिए, कोई भी आपके बिजनेस के लिए, तो बीच में एक गारंटी रहेगा बैंक का. अगर यू आर नॉट एबल टू पे बैक टू द क्रेडिटर, द बैंक विल पे. सिंपल. दिस इज कॉल्ड अ बैंक गारंटी. सो ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होता है. ये तीन स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं यहाँ पे, बोरोवर, क्रेडिटर एंड बैंक. एप्लीकेंट, बेनिफिशियरी, बैंक. सिंपल. एप्लीकेंट होता है द पार्टी दैट रिक्वेस्ट अ बैंक गारंटी फ्रॉम द बैंक एंड बोरोज फ्रॉम अ क्रेडिटर. बेनिफिशियरी जो कि पार्शियल, द पार्टी दैट रिसीव्स अ पार्शियल गारंटी. और बैंक जो कि द पार्टी दैट अग्रीज टू साइन एंड अश्योर्स कि हम पेमेंट करेंगे इफ द एप्लीकेंट फेल्स टू रीपे द लोन. हियर द एप्लीकेंट मतलब बोरोवर. ओके, फाइन. So these are understanding the process of bank guarantee. You can simply pause the video and check it. Not much of importance, but still then you can simply just note it down. So these are the kinds of bank guarantee. Just you can pause the video and go through it. It is very much self-explanatory. Just know exactly what happens in these kind of guarantee. Mostly they will not ask in thing, but in the paper. But still, then you should know what are referred bank deferred फाइनेंशियल गारंटी, मतलब कहाँ पे कौन सा चीज़ यूज होता है, कहाँ पे कौन से कंडीशन पे ये सब टर्म्स यूज होता है. सिंपली दैट्स एनफ, नो नीड टू राइट ऑल दीज थिंग्स. आई हैव जस्ट गिवन फ्रॉम नोट परस्पेक्टिव. यू कैन just pause the video and go through it. Fine. Okay, let's move ahead. Now coming to a history topic. अभी ASI is Archaeological Survey of India. Archaeological Survey of India comes under Ministry of Culture. Okay, ठीक है. It discovers a not one, it's two actually, two 1200-year-old miniature stupas at Nalanda. Okay, अब नालंदा क्या है, कब से ये है, एवरीथिंग वी नीड टू नो. ठीक है, नालंदा महाविहारा, इट इज़ अ वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज साइट. अब ये जो स्तूपाज मिला है नियर सराई तिला, रिमेंबर, नाम याद रख लेना, सराई तिला, विद इन द प्रेमिसेस ऑफ नालंदा ही है वो. ठीक है, ओके. नाउ जो कार्व्ड स्टोन फ्रॉम स्टोन डिपिक्टिंग बुद्धा फिगर का आया है मिनिएचर स्तूपस. ठीक है, मस्ट बी अराउंड 1200 ईयर्स ओल्ड. ठीक है. सो नाउ व्हाट इज नालंदा यूनिवर्सिटी. नो, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल नालंदा यूनिवर्सिटी शुरू हुआ था गुप्ता टाइम पे. गुप्ता इज एन एंशिएंट टॉपिक, 3rd to 5th century AD. इट इज कॉल्ड एज द गोल्डन एज और क्लासिकल एज ऑफ एंशिएंट इंडिया. आसंगा, दो बुद्धिस्ट स्कॉलर्स थे, आसंगा एंड वासावंतु. दे लेड द फाउंडेशन ऑफ नालंदा यूनिवर्सिटी अंडर गुप्ता किंग कुमार गुप्ता. कुमार गुप्ता was the king, but it was two Buddhist scholars, Asanga and Basavandhu, that laid the foundation. Now यहाँ पे बहुत सारे डिस्टेंस से लोग आते थे पढ़ने, लाइक चाइना से, कोरिया से, जापान. ओके. Now APJ Abdul Kalam mooted the idea of reviving this ancient Nalanda University while addressing the Bihar State Legislative Assembly in March 2006. फर्स्ट टाइम APJ अब्दुल कलाम स्टार्ट किए थे कि दिस शुड बी रिवाइव्ड, दिस एंशिएंट university should be revived. It was the first step towards realizing the dream of reinventing the old Nalanda. अब ये तो इंडिया से हुआ है, लेकिन इंटरनेशनली it was East Asia Summit who endorsed the proposal to re-establish Nalanda when they met in Philippines in 2007. Now comes here, this is a IR topic. East Asia Summit, first of all it is a summit. Summit means it's kind of event. The countries will come, sit and talk. तो ये जो summit है ये किसके अंतर्गत होता है? It happens under which organization? It happens under which? Can anyone tell me? कमेंट बॉक्स में लिख के मुझे बताओ. It happens under which organization? चलो बता ही देता हूँ. It comes under ASEAN. It happens under ASEAN. Now, is India a part of ASEAN? No. Is USA part of ASEAN? No. Is Russia a part of ASEAN? No, because ASEAN has only 10 members. Okay, Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei, Singapore, all those South Asian countries. Okay, but East Asia Summit 2005 से हो रहा है. It happens from 2000 since 2005. But East Asia Summit के members all 10 ASEAN, because it happens under ASEAN means जाहिर सी बात है all 10 ASEAN members will be a part. Okay, India is also a part of this summit. US is a part of summit. Russia is a part of summit. Remember, it was asked in 2015 prelims question. Okay, members पूछा गया था कि which of the following are members of the East Asia Summit. ठीक है, fine. Okay, now comes to Archaeological Survey of India, because it is the Archaeological Survey of India who has discovered, so we'll cover this here itself. Archaeological Survey of India, Ministry of Culture, it's an affiliated agency under Ministry of Culture. Basically it is responsible for archaeological research, conservation, protection, preservation of historic monuments, archaeological sites. तो एक एक्ट है, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एक्ट, दैट इज द Ancient Monuments and Archaeological Sites and Remains Act of 1958. ठीक है. So the laws of this govern all the archaeological activity. इसी एक्ट से द आर्कियोलॉजिकल एक्टिविटी ऑफ द नेशन होता है, लाइक लॉ है ये, गवर्न होता है. और एक भी है एंटिक्विटीज एंड आर्ट ट्रेजर एक्ट ऑफ 1972, ये भी है. Now these two acts you can cover, just you can type this act in Google and you can just go through it. News में है, mostly not that much important, still then you can just have a look. आर्कियोलॉजिकल सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया शुरू हुआ था 1861 by the famous personality Alexander Cunningham. It is his British Army engineer with particular interest in Indian archaeology में काफ़ी interest था. Now he was dubbed as the father of Indian archaeology. And अभी एक कनेक्टिविटी करेंगे, ASI को हम कनेक्ट करेंगे एशियाटिक सोसाइटी. Asiatic society, it is also a part of modern history. Asiatic society is a part of modern history. Okay. Archaeological activities began considerably earlier in the 18th century when Sir William Jones and a group of antiquarians founded the Asiatic Society in 1784. Basically William Jones जो थे, he started this society. तब से archaeological activity शुरू हो गया. Alexander Cunningham got inspired from that and he founded this survey of India in 1861 later. ठीक है. Now following independence, this act of 1958 established ASI as the statutory body. Now इसी act के अंदर में this body become a statutory body. दिल्ली में है, it is led by a DG. Fine. History क्या है? It was founded in 1861 by Alexander Cunningham, who also became the first DG. Now ये सब कुछ शुरू हुआ था एशियाटिक सोसाइटी के साथ. नाउ द थिंग इज बोथ आर डिफरेंट. एशियाटिक सोसाइटी अभी भी है कोलकाता में, इट इज स्टिल देयर इन कोलकाता. ओके, विल कवर दैट. नाउ द फर्स्ट सिस्टमेटिक रिसर्च इनटू द सबकॉन्टिनेंट्स हिस्ट्री वाज कंडक्टेड बाय एशियाटिक सोसाइटी व्हिच वाज फाउंडेड बाय विलियम जोन्स इन 1784. फर्स्ट रिसर्च वो किया था. Based in Calcutta, this society is in Calcutta. The society promoted the study of ancient Sanskrit and Persian text and published an annual journal titled Asiatic Researches. ठीक है. Notable among its early members were Charles Wilkins, who published the first English translation of Bhagavad Gita in 1785 with the patronage of the then Governor General Warren Hastings. Now the thing is, Warren Hastings 1773 से है. Okay. Warren Hastings in a way promoted this society. The thing is, this society was in a way a good society because it had an interest in our own scriptures or ancient thing, ancient Sanskrit, Persian text. So they wanted to know more. This is society. So Warren Hastings भी promote किए थे, बहुत promote किए थे. And Charles Wilkins बहुत ही early member थे इसी society के, that is Asiatic Society. And Charles Wilkins published the first translation of Gita. Okay, ठीक है. However, the most important of the society's achievements was the decipherment of Brahmi script by James Prinsep. James Prinsep भी इसी एशियाटिक सोसाइटी के मेंबर थे and he was the one जो पहली बार ब्राह्मी स्क्रिप्ट, जो एंशियंट स्क्रिप्ट है, अशोका के टाइम पे ब्राह्मी स्क्रिप्ट यूज हुआ था, 1837 में उसको डिसाइफर किए. This successful decipherment inaugurated the asset. Armed with knowledge of Brahmi, Alexander Cunningham, a protege of James Prinsep, इसी मतलब इनको फॉलो करते थे, Alexander Cunningham, he carried out a detailed survey of the Buddhist monuments which lasted over a half a century. तो कहीं ना कहीं जो आर्कियोलॉजी का जो चीज़ है हमारे मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री में शुरू हुआ है एशियाटिक सोसाइटी से. द ओरिजिन वहाँ से शुरू हुआ है. तो जब हम आर्कियोलॉजिकल सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया पढ़ रहे हैं, दैट इज़ द रीजन वाई आई हैव कवर्ड हियर इटसेल्फ द एशियाटिक सोसाइटी ऑफ बंगाल, which is nothing but modern history. So all these things are not mentioned in the book in a very full way. You can say touch and go. So we have to cover all these things in detail because question can be asked from anything, because prelims has become totally dynamic. Anything can be asked. When I use the word anything, it is not like they will ask anything from the world. They'll ask from your course. From your course they can ask anything. Okay. Now, now coming to Asiatic Society of Bengal. This Asiatic Society is a government of India organization founded during the company rule, that is, company means the East India Company, British rule, to enhance and further the cause of Oriental research. Oriental means our side research, Asian, East Asian, Asian, mostly India, Asian countries. Oriental means हमारा साइड का जो एंशियंट स्टडीज़ है, हमारा लैंग्वेज है, उसी का रिसर्च करे, तो इट इज़ अ पॉजिटिव थिंग, ठीक है। और जो वेस्टर्न साइड का होता है उनको ऑक्सीडेंटल बोलते हैं, वेस्टर्न। दिस इज़ आवर साइड, एशियन साइड। इट वॉज फाउंडेड बाई द फिलोजोलिस्ट जिसका नाम है विलियम जोन्स, 1784, इन अ मीटिंग प्रिसाइडेड ओवर बाई जस्टिस रॉबर्ट चैम्बर्स इन कैलकाटा, द देन कैपिटल ऑफ द प्रेसिडेंसी ऑफ फोर्ट विलियम। कैलकाटा कैपिटल था तब। नाउ एशियाटिक सोसाइटी को बहुत एनकरेजमेंट या फिर सपोर्ट मिला फ्रॉम द गवर्नर जनरल, उस टाइम का गवर्नर जनरल, इसको ही वॉज नोन एज वारेन हेस्टिंग्स। एट द टाइम ऑफ इट्स फाउंडेशन द सोसाइटी वॉज नेम्ड एज एशियाटिक सोसाइटी तब इनिशियली, फिर 1784 से, फिर 1825 से इट वॉज रीनेम्ड द एशियाटिक सोसाइटी, फिर 1832 से इट वॉज चेंज टू एशियाटिक सोसाइटी ऑफ बंगाल, again 1936 से it was renamed as the Royal Asiatic Society of Bengal. Finally, after independence, the name changed to the present one, that is Asiatic Society. Society is in a building in Park Street, जो कि कोलकाता में है, अभी भी है. From now, this is a very important prelims point. From 1784 to 1828 तक only Europeans were elected members of the society. Yes, Indians were not allowed initially, but the thing is their work was very good. They were more into Oriental research. In 1829, at the initiative of H. Wilson, a member of Indians were elected. So finally, member of Indians elect हुए, और उनमें से एक जो कि देर आर लॉट ऑफ मेंबर्स, बट एक नाम जो आपको याद करना है, दैट इज द्वारकानाथ टैगोर, बिकॉज ही इज़ अ वेरी फेमस पर्सनैलिटी विच वी कवर इन आर नॉर्मल स्टैटिक मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री. शिवचंद्र दास, महाराजा वैद्यनाथ रॉय, महाराजा बनवारी गोविंद रॉय, राजा कालीकृष्ण बहादुर, राजचंद्र दास, राम कोमल सेन एंड प्रसन्न कुमार टैगोर. If you want to remember Dwarkanath Tagore and this Prasanna Kumar Tagore. Now you have to remember this also. Rajendra Lal Mitra became the first Indian president in 1885. Indian president of whom? Of Asiatic Society of Bengal. So Indian president बनते बनते हो गया 1885 when INC, जब INC हुआ था, Indian National Congress. So you have to remember Dwarkanath Tagore and Rajendra Lal Mitra. Okay, next topic is again a IR topic. India takes presidency of IRINA. IRINA is also a part of static IR, I would say. Current affair में भी रहता है. IRINA is an intergovernmental organization mandated to facilitate, cooperate, advance knowledge, promote. क्या करेंगे? The promote the use, sustainable use of renewable energy. फुल फॉर्म ही वही है, द इंटरनेशनल रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी एजेंसी. ये एकमात्र ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, इट इज़ द फर्स्ट इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन टू एक्सक्लूसिवली फोकस ऑन रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी, and this should be addressed in both industrialized and developing nations. Okay, it was founded in 2009. Statute entered in 2010. हेडक्वार्टर अबू धाबी पे है, मजदार सिटी पे. IRINA is an official United Nations observer. United Nations में observer status has been given to IRINA. Now I'll ask one thing. What do you mean by observer status? A question आया था. Can observer status, like ASEAN को भी observer status मिला है, at even they can they vote? No, they can't vote. They can't vote on resolutions. जो resolutions वहाँ पे proposals, resolution जिसको हम बोलते हैं, kind of हमारा जैसे लोकसभा पे resolutions होता है, motion और resolution जो भी है वहाँ पे resolutions बोलते हैं. In order to bring something, you need to put a resolution in UN. But observer status can't vote on resolutions. But if I ask question, can observer status, those who have got, can they vote on procedural matters? Can they vote? The answer is a big yes. Procedural matters means kind of a related to any procedure, day-to-day thing. Yes, they can vote, but they can't vote on resolutions. Remember. So vote on procedural is a yes by observer status. Observer status, countries or organizations. These are the members of IRENA. India is a part, remember. Okay. US is not a part, Russia is not a part. Remember, India is a part. Okay. Now some prelims pointer related to IRENA. A state must be a member of United Nations as well as regional intergovernmental economic integration organization in order to join IRENA. So must be a part of United Nations as well as any regional intergovernmental economic integration, like you can say ASEAN. It is an intergovernmental economic integration. BIMSTEC. Okay, so must, the word is must. States that join IRENA must do everything possible to uphold the organization's legislation. Once you join IRENA, you have to do all your, you have to give 100% to achieve the objective of IRENA, that is renewable energy. Okay. Canada became the 160th member of IRENA as on 2019. 165 members, including European Union, and another 18 are in the process of joining. Okay. So one initiative is there. The initiative name is Remap Initiative of IRENA. It assesses the potential for renewable energy to scale up countries, regions, and around the world. So Remap, just remember, Remap किसका है? IRENA का है. काम वही है, Renewable Energy Roadmap. Now renewable energy, रिन्यूएबल पावर जनरेशन कॉस्ट, एक रिपोर्ट आया था 2020 में, काफ़ी ओल्ड रिपोर्ट है, ये भी इरीना पब्लिश करती है. पब्लिश द रिपोर्ट रिन्यूएबल पावर जनरेशन कॉस्ट, दिस मच यूनिट रिमेंबर. और एक वेरी फेमस इनका रिपोर्ट है जो कि काफ़ी न्यूज़ में होता है, दैट इज़ द वर्ल्ड एनर्जी ट्रांजिशन आउटलुक 1.5 डिग्री सेल्सियस पाथवे. ओके, ये भी हमारा पेरिस एग्रीमेंट का ही ऑब्जेक्टिव है. ओके, सो वर्ल्ड एनर्जी ट्रांजिशन आउटलुक इज ऑल्सो डन बाई IRENA. So that's it for today. So if anyone wants mentorship, can go through this, or a personal mentor, like no need to go for Delhi. If you are from home, you can simply contact me. You can get all these PDFs. You can get the static subjects PDF of basic or advanced. Every book is covered here. Weekly schedules, test series, essay, ethics, everything you can get on. And if you are history optional or economy optional, so it will be an added advantage because I teach both these optionals and all GS subjects. Thank you.